95. Between local lines. Notes from the Emirate.
Hello, welcome back on to the Morning Majlis, and we have a beautiful, wonderful guest waiting for us to talk to right now. A guest that we always love to talk to here on the Morning Majlis, and we have an important development happening here in Sharjah. The United Nations Population Fund Arab States Regional Office signed a memorandum of understanding with the Friends of Cancer Patients, which is a UAE-based civil society organization, in order to boost collaborative efforts in reducing the burden of cervical cancer on the Arab states. And it really aims to advance raising of awareness, combined advocacy efforts, and evidence generation, also knowledge sharing on reproductive health, women empowerment, and non-communicable diseases, with a focus on reproductive health cancers, cervical cancer in particular. So we're going to talk about cervical cancer in particular with Dr. Sawsan Al Madhi, Director General of Friends of Cancer Patients. Good morning, Dr. Sawsan.
Good morning, Rania. Good morning, Abdul Karim. And thank you very much. You made my day with your sweet words.
You make our day with joining us here on the Morning Majlis. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
So let's just start talking about the agreement and its benefits.
So as you mentioned, Friends of Cancer Patient signed an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with the United Nations Population Fund. And this is, of course, a global entity that focuses on women and children health and also reproductive health, to be specific. And, of course, they advocate for gender equation and also advocate against women violence. So they have really on their big objective on their agenda. So Friends of Cancer Patient, we collaborated 2 years ago with UNFPA during our first forum, which was actually in Sharjah in January 2019. And it was under the title Turning the Tide on Cervical Cancer and HPV. And it was a pivotal forum in Sharjah, and we are very proud to have hosted it because out of it we launched the Sharjah Declaration on Cervical Cancer 3x3. So 3x3 means there is 3 things we need to do and 3 things that we need to pledge for to make sure that cervical cancer is eliminated. Now, it is interesting that I'm using the word elimination because there is no way in other cancer that you can use that word. Also, all sorts of cancers, all different type of cancer, you use the word control, so cancer control. So you control the disease, you control the way the disease is spread, you control it by awareness and early detection and some preventive measure, especially healthy lifestyle. But you cannot eliminate any cancer, which means you cannot eliminate cancers to exist anymore, or these cancer will not happen anymore. So that's not possible. The only cancer that's possible with is cervical cancer because it's caused by a virus. And that virus, it's called HPV virus, which is the human papilloma virus. So because it is caused by virus, the cervical cancer, and of course we know that there was a revolution when it came to this virus. I think it was 15 or 18 years ago when the actual introduction of the vaccine for it. Of course, we all know now the race towards having a vaccine for COVID. So it's the same thing, of course, with HPV virus. There is a vaccine. It has been well tested. We know that it is safe to be given. It's usually given to girls in school age, even women, adult women up to the age of 35. Now there is lots of study that prove the efficacy of that vaccine. So if the woman takes that vaccine, so she will be immune from the virus, which causes the cervical cancer. And I think this is a very important and pivotal point in the history of Friends of Cancer Patient, because now we're not just speaking about controlling a disease or controlling cancer, but also eliminating it.
It's really very important steps indeed. Now, I want to touch upon the aspect of awareness, because I'm looking at your press statement at the moment and saying and there is a stat that says if decisive action is not taken now, 42 women will die each day from a preventable disease, cervical cancer, in the MENA region by 2040. Talk to us about what we mean by this decisive action. Is it more forums, or is it more awareness, or is it more affordable healthcare being provided?
It's all that.
All of that. Sorry.
That's why in our next forum, which we are planning to host in 2021, also January. And by the way, January is the Global Cervical Cancer Month.
Oh.
And not lots of people know that. Everybody knows about breast cancer in October, but nobody knows about cervical cancer in January, or prostate cancer in November, or childhood cancer in September. There is lots of every month there's lots of things that we can speak about. And by the way, cervical cancer color is turquoise, so it's that color between blue and green.
Yeah.
Yes. So as we know, breast cancer is pink, cervical cancer is turquoise. So as you have rightly said, the decisive action is actually there is a core for this action, and there is a further plans and action. So the core is we have to make sure that policies on a governmental level is friendly to cervical cancer elimination, which means that governments, and we're speaking in our region, and especially in low and middle income countries, so we need to make sure that there is a policy in each country that speaks about cervical cancer elimination plan. Either is it spreading more awareness, making sure the vaccine is more accessible, or even making sure that the treatment for the cancer is accessible. Now, even if the woman didn't have the vaccine and she did get cervical cancer, that's not a big deal, because if caught early, and again, it's the same mantra we are using in breast cancer, if caught early, then she will survive it. And this is, in breast cancer, we used to say it's a 98% survival rate and cure rate. In cervical cancer, if it's caught early, it's 100% cure rate. So why still now women are still dying? When you said 48 women a day, that means almost 2 women per hour will die of a disease that can be prevented, that can be cured if caught early. So again, I am really, I will continue mentioning the same thing that I say for breast cancer. It's a crime that women are still dying either from breast cancer or cervical cancer, because both of them, cervical cancer is preventable with a vaccine and treatable if caught early, and so is breast cancer. It is treatable if caught early, and the cure rate is very, very high.
That's certainly alarming, Dr. Sawsan, but can you speak more about the symptoms of cervical cancer in the early stages, since you just mentioned how to catch it early?
Yeah. Well, as any cancer, there's no symptoms. The woman can have a very normal life and there's no symptoms. And this is why we advocate to have the screening. And usually the screening is a pap smear that is done for a woman every 3 to 5 years, according to her first pap smear. And if the cancer do progress, there will be a lot of symptoms like, lower abdominal pain. It's like she's feeling a period pain, but it's not her period time.
And a lot of bleeding, right? Excessive bleeding.
And a lot of bleeding, a lot of spotting, which is not the period time as well. Also, when she's intimate with her husband, there will be a lot of pain as well. So maybe pain that is also radiating, maybe that pain during the month, maybe it will be radiating to other parts like her back or her flanks, the sides. So there is lots of those things as well. What we want to prevent is we want to catch that cancer very, very early. And this is why we advocate for women to do their pap smear. And it is a routine thing that gynecologists do for married women, especially when they're pregnant. They try to, make sure. But it shouldn't be just for pregnant women. It should be for all women. There are lots of countries globally that have a proper screening, which means that me as a woman, I will receive a reminder from my health practitioner, from my GP, every 3 years and say, oh, it's your time. You need to go and do your pap smear. And the pap smear is whenever the woman has been started to be sexually active, she needs to start doing her pap smear. So that's your rule of thumb.
Well, very important thoughts to take back from this discussion, isn't it? And Dr. Sawsan, sadly, this is all the time that we have for this. Thank you once again for joining us this morning. And we wish you all the very best in the planning of that forum that's happening in January as well. And it's very, very encouraging to see the efforts done by authorities here in the Emirate of Sharjah.
Thank you. There will be actually a whole session about marketing and media as their role and actually advocating for awareness. So maybe you can attend as well. It's open for everybody to attend. It's going to be virtual. So
we would love to do that. We would love to do that.
Thank you
for being with us, Dr. Sawsan.
Thank you.
All right. So that was Dr. Sawsan Al Madhi from the Friends of Cancer Patients Society talking to us about cervical cancer and also about their partnership with UNFPA. Well, stay with us on the Morning Majlis. We'll be concluding the show very shortly with a little bit of, let's say, our revelation of our quiz question that we've been throwing at you. So stay with us. This is the Morning Majlis only on Pulse 95.
If you liked this episode of the Morning Majlis, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.
Pulse.